Hello everyone, Alex here. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And we are back with, of course, more Horizon Zero Dawn. And if memory serves me, and if I'm correct in my assumption, we are about done with the game. I've done pretty much every side quest that I could find. And done as best as I could with everything that I was able to figure out. And other than the Frozen Wilds, which I'm saving for its own separate playthrough in the future, and of course the hunting ground stuff, which I plan to do just by myself casually whenever I feel like it, we're pretty much done with the game. We've done all the cauldrons, found all the secrets. Yeah, there's a bunch of, like, scribble, books and hologram stuff, that I haven't found, and I doubt I'm gonna find all of them. They don't really have much other than the vantage points and a couple of ones that I've seen in some, mission-specific areas. Those are, like, collectibles I'm definitely not gonna bother finding all of. But I've pretty much done all the essentials. We now have a new spear, if I remember, with Gaia's override to use against Hades. And the Eclipse is apparently mounting an attack on Meridian in order to get to the Spire, which I knew was going to be important since I first saw it way back when I first showed up in Meridian. So, I'm pretty much, I think I'm pretty much almost done. And if I do beat it in this stream, I of course will review the game and give my overall thoughts on it. So with that, let's end the holiday with this story now, shall we? And I think the name of the main quest was Looming Shadow, if I'm correct. Come on, game. Load already. Don't know what's keeping you. Load, damn you. Tick tock, tick tock. Waiting. Ugh, finally. The Looming Shadow, right? Yep. Yep, think we got everything. Let's go. Okay, it's not being attacked yet. We just gotta give them the heads up. Yeah, I got the special suit of the special suit with the shield. That'll come in handy. Heh. Anything I could sell? Probably not, but I want to check. I think we're good, really. No secrets right here. Don't want to run to them. To the palace.
No, I'm awake and alert.
Talk to His Majesty, His Royal Solarness. Solar, like the sun. Never mind. Mount the defenses, your lordship, or sonship.
Aloy, what brings you to Meridian?
A threat. Helis commands a legion of fanatics called the Eclipse. They will attack soon from the west, with an army of ancient war machines. But that's not the worst of it. They'll bring a mind with them. God, demon, machine, whatever you want to call it. It's called Hades. And it doesn't want Meridian at all. It wants the Spire. And if it gets there, it will send out a call, waking more ancient machines, more than we could ever defeat. All will be lost. We can't let that happen.
I'm trying to understand, but my responsibility lies with Meridian.
Meridian isn't the target, Avad. You have to defend the Spire.
Perhaps the Vanguard, Your Radiance.
Yes. Send them to the Spire. Eren knows Aloy. He won't question it.
And have the City Guard fortify the Western Ridge. There they can be seen to protect Meridian and the Elite, where the Spire rests.
Aloy, allow me to apologize for my behavior before. After everything that happened with Ursa, I was confused. If we're to fight together on the brink of life and death, I'd prefer to do so with your forgiveness.
Then you have it. As long as you don't confuse me with her again.
Even a king can learn his lesson. Good then. I'm glad that's behind us. Now, it will take time to prepare our defenses. Please, tell me what you know of our enemies. Everything.
I don't know about everything, but I'll tell you what I can.
Alrighty. Oh, she already told him a lot, huh? Just flashed through it.
Have you spoken to Blameless Murad?
Not yet, but I will.
He wishes to speak to you. Defensive preparations are his responsibility.
Okay, so we can't hear what she tells him. Boo. So we gotta go talk to Garrick. Yeah, I know that's not his name, but he reminds me too much of him.
He will only create another enemy. And do keep me appraised of each new arrival. Ah, Aloy. Preparations are underway on the ridge defenses and at the Spire. Word was sent to every corner of the Sundom. Our allies offered their steel. Some came for Meridian, others for shards. But many came for you, by name.
For me.
Don't be so humble.
The ridge will be the front line. That's where the city guard are holding?
Yes, bolstered by some of the irregulars I spoke of before. The Oseram cannons that thundered Meridian's walls in the Liberation will now defend us. You're welcome to tour the defenses.
Okay. Well, I know that Nora will be showing up. The ones that were named Seekers.
And the Spire. Erend and the Vanguard are there?
Indeed. Clashing breastplates together and testing out their battle cries, I suppose.
Yeah.
A number of the Nora have also arrived at the Spire. They have resisted the offer of a royal audience.
Nice.
Perhaps you could parley with them.
I will.
Erend and the Nora.
I suppose all we can do is wait for the attack.
Exactly. It's not a feeling I cherish, but our spotters at Evening Sign report there's still no movement in the west. So, if there's more you need to do elsewhere, seize this time to do it. Otherwise, I've made the apartment of Olin Delverson available to you. You can sleep there, if sleep comes.
The waiting's always the worst part. Visit both sites. I think I'll do that, actually. Last time I visited Prime was November of last year. Months since have been a blur. Flew last night to oversee installation of the central armature with the master override. You're welcome, Ted, which was completed by 0430. So I decided to grab a few hours of sleep here before heading back to ZD. Called Gaia before I bedded down, ostensibly to update her on the site plan. But the truth is, I missed her. I've developed a habit of speaking to her before I sleep. Sometimes, seems to be the only thing that calms me these days. Woke to a message from Oswald. The Odyssey launched yesterday, so terrestrial life's chance of survival has doubled. Yeah, we all know it didn't end up working. Why then do I feel so uneasy? I just keep wondering what kind of world Far Zenith will create if the ship reaches its destination. So many decades from now, and I worry about that alpha build of Apollo. So much knowledge, so few restraints, and no fail-safes. Yeah, you should have had fail-safes because Ted came and screwed it all up. How will they avoid repeating our mistakes? What's to stop them from playing God? Forwarded the Odyssey message to the Alphas. Naoto replied in less than a minute, with a poem, of course. It's Building of the Ship by Longfellow, and it's long, alright. I didn't read all of it, but it seems to be about launching a ship rather than building one. The stanza, or couplet or whatever, leapt out at me. Humanity, with all its fears, with all its hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate. Yeah, Odyssey and Zero Dawn both. Speaking of which, I should get back to ZD. Guess I should stop by Naoto's ship and check on Demeter's progress too, if I can get out of there without a volume of Tennyson pressing into my hands. I'll count myself lucky. Till next time. Okay. I'm gonna visit the sites, of course.
Get to cover. Let the soldiers do...
I think... I can also... Let me check if there's any...
No. A colorful disguise. Ah, you're back.
Trade.
Till we meet again, my noble Nora. A moment of your time.
Yeah.
Time, Outlander?
Getting busy's the only way to get rich. Staying busy's the only way to stay rich. Take a look at these
Oh,
wares.
son, protect your city from the army outside its gate.
A woman like you wouldn't care for the grain. Iron stick. What do you want from me?
I want to trade, dummy.
I have a matter. Hello again. I am always happy. I look forward to trading with you again. Everyone needs a splash of color in their life. Come, let's talk it over.
Steel to my soul. We can't stay here. The enemy is marching on the city.
You'll regret not stopping when you're...
Let's go check out the battlements, shall we? Well, you gotta give it to the Carja. They pick a good defensive location. Rocks and mountains all over the place.
The shadows are getting long.
Same dialogue.
Check out these roads. Don't pass up these goods. I utterly refuse.
Have you just polished that armor, Hoover?
Ah, there's Teb.
Isn't that a little...
What?
Nothing.
Out with it, woman.
No room.
Forget I said anything. You look very dignified.
Thank you.
And shiny. Very shiny.
I was wondering what happened to Teb. We never saw him out in the mountain.
I told you I'd be here.
You did, Teb. But have your wounds even had time to heal?
Honestly, if I fought, I'd probably come undone. But don't worry. I'll leave that to the other Nor at the Spire. I brought supplies instead. These Karja have made me an honorary quartermaster, whatever that means.
It sounds impressive.
I could get used to it. We'll be setting up caches of arms and medicine under these banners. Look for them when the fighting starts. Aloy, when you went into the mountain, did the goddess tell you our chances?
Not
She
exactly.
Didn't need to. I know we can do this, Teb.
Maybe we can.
It was Derval. He tried to kill the Sun King. Unbelievable.
This place really couldn't be more different to the sacred land, could it?
Oh,
Little
Vanasha.
Huntress, you called, so here I am.
Ready to fight?
Fight? I thought you just wanted tea and conversation. Is there a battle coming? I wasn't informed.
Well, that can't be true. You're always informed.
Ah, so I am. We've only met a few times, and yet you know me so well.
I don't think I know you at all. But I'd like to.
When I hear that line, it usually means something else. Can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
I've been waiting for this fight my whole life.
Really?
The enemy we face today is the same that turned Meridian into a slave pit and Sunfall into a bloodbath. Fanatics who torture and murder mothers, fathers, families, children, and say it's the will of the sun.
Well, to hell with them,
hate
then.
them, Aloy. I've got the scars of their whips on my back to prove it. And today, we can get rid of them once and for all. I said I came for you, but that was only half the truth. I came for them. This time, they're not getting away.
I'm with you, Vanasha. We'll fight them together.
And I won't forget it, little Huntress. Tomorrow, may the sun rise in a better world. I
Yep.
only fight when I have to. But by the time I have to, I usually want to.
The only justice Derval deserves is at the tip of a spear.
Elita.
Alita, I'm pleased to see you, but what are you doing here?
I'm helping prepare for the battle. If Atral were here, we would have fought together. I know it. So I'm doing everything I can. Digging battlements, collecting herbs. Anything that makes a difference. I can't take his place. Nothing can take his place. But I'm here for him. For both of us.
I understand what it was he saw in you.
He'll always be with me. Sun and shadow still meet for a moment. Every dawn and dusk. I should give you this. To help in the battle. By the sun, I hope you don't need it.
Thank you, Alita. Be safe.
Juliet came down from her mansion to help out. That's cool.
Father understood that I couldn't just stand by in my garden.
Good on him. Good on you. Pitching in. Nakoa.
Nakoa, you came to fight.
Oh yeah, the
How
girl
could
who
I
was
not?
enslaved.
During the Red Raids, there was only one Karja Butcher the Nora feared more than Zaid.
Helis.
I would stand against any army he leads, no matter how strong. For the Nora he terrorized, for myself, and for my father.
We'll stop him. You have my word.
Your word means a lot, especially now. Because of you, I hear the sacred land is open. If we win, I can go home. It'll be good to see Jan again.
Yeah, if they
I'm
allow
with
you
Aloy.
in.
Until the end.
How many men do you think you'll kill in the battle, Luthid?
Yeah, she was the girl who we saved from
I
Zaid.
love it when
So
you say things like that. It's so...
Like you said,
What?
we'll stop Healer's
Cheerful.
code. Together.
any herbs I can pick up. Rhyme.
I'll tuck that away.
There's Warden, what's her name over there?
Geneva, they called you back to duty.
So, you're the one behind all this commotion. Who made Sun King Avad finally show his sword arm from behind those robes?
A king can be fierce and fair, Geneva. He's a good man.
A smart man, too. He had Murad offer all my prisoners a royal pardon if they'd fight for Meridian. The whole motley lot of them agreed. Didn't take much convincing.
With your kind of convincing, I don't doubt it.
Ha! This time I went easy on them. Those who commit the crime of attacking Meridian, they'll see less of my lenient side. May the sun blaze at your back, Aloy. Can't fault my prisoners' discipline. All those dawn drills have served them well.
Well, look who it is. Nil. I am so glad I went back and redid that because... yeah.
Nil?
Hey, they told me your name. I said hair like a splash of blood, tenacious as a scrapper's jaws. I've thought about what you said. Every time, the wound you gave me caught on my ribs.
But I didn't wound you.
Not by metal. Still, I forgive. A duel is such a fleeting joy. If one of us had ended the other, we'd have missed all this. The weight before blood is shed, like the scrape of a blade across your teeth.
Nil, you're making it difficult to be glad to see you. But you're needed. The battle will be hard.
Hard? I was assured the odds would be near impossible.
And you signed up anyway?
Impossible odds, fine company, killing without consequence. How could I resist?
Only you, Nil. Only you. Oh, Petra.
Petra!
Here she is, the guest of honor. I knew there was something about you. Hammered from the stuff they make leaders out of. And I don't say that to every Nora girl who blows through my town.
That happens to you a lot?
Had to build a wall to fend them off.
Good thing I'm persistent then.
I've missed our little talks. Murad asked me to look over the city arsenal. Well, that runs in the Osram, no? They were the pride of the Mainspring Forges, so I've taken greater pride in improving them.
I love this woman.
Can I try one?
Everybody wants a turn. Have at it then. The target should put up a little less of a fight than those bandit raiders did.
L to hold R.
It hits nice and wide. No need to aim it like a bow. Range is good. Try the next. See? That'll knock a machine on its ass, ancient or no. With these, I think we could hold off an army.
You know that I appreciate your help, Petra. This battle, I don't know what's gonna happen.
We'll see each other again, I know it. Next time could be the time I'll convince you to stick with the free heap.
Petra, you know
I do. Always had a weakness for restless girls, though.
I like this chick.
I don't make weapons for a living. It's more of a diversion.
Petra's funny. I like her. And not bad on the eyes, too, might I add.
That's
Isn't
a
that
nice spear,
him?
Uther.
From the Battle of the Dawn?
Can't be.
I like the way you
Cinnabar
put it.
Sands was before that. Never knew survived, woman.
Well, I
It
don't
was work keeping the city safe.
Wait, where am I going? Oh yeah, the spire.
Knew it was only a matter of time before an Oseram tried to kill us.
Now, I don't know if I got everyone or what. And if I did, and I get the trophy for it, yay. If I didn't, boo. Halloween, Travis came by trick-or-treating, dressed up like me. Should have seen that coming. I gave him a half-eaten packet of dandy wafers as a treat and tricked him and kicked him out, but not before he invited me to some kind of Italian horror extravaganza. What, was Lucio Fulci in there or something? He organized for ZD staff, seriously, as though there isn't enough horror in the world already. Anyway, I was already scheduled to fly out here to G Prime for final inspections with Harris and the president's delegation. Ted was here too, and he was not looking good. Kept fidgeting and couldn't seem to look me in the face without blinking. Yeah, he's planning to murder your compatriots. That's what he's doing. And sabotage Gaia, which made everything worse. I was relieved when he boarded his vert and flew back to Thebes. Gag. Though I guess I shouldn't complain. If he wants to build himself a deluxe shelter to ride out the apocalypse, let him. Keeps him out of Elysium and away from me. Harris stuck around long enough to give me a detailed briefing on the strategic situation. Basically, we've entered the terminal phase, as though the color of the sky when I was flying over here wasn't cute enough. Wait, wasn't clue enough, excuse me. Another 2 or 3 weeks, and the atmosphere won't be breathable. The last vestiges of European and West African Civ brigades are trapped with their backs against the Atlantic. The swarm that scuttled across Antarctica is crossing the Straits of Magellan, about to start its death crawl up South America towards the Amazon. All the work we did to reconstitute the rainforest, and it comes to this. And advanced elements of the Pacific swarms are already skirmishing with units on the Kalmar seawall. The noose is tightening. Projections show we can still finish in time, but the margin of error is +-10 days. Not a good spread. If the plague breaks through ahead of schedule, well, it just can't. I will not let that happen. Enough riding. Need to get back to Zero Dawn. Yeah, Ted, the idiot, the bleeding heart idiot, went and sabotaged it. Sabotaged everything, and now we have a new mess on our hands thanks to him. Dumbass. Up there on the spire, eh? Spire could use a bit of a lawn, a bit of a lawn work.
You're the hunter from the Banuk Grove.
I remember you also, Nora. The machines shook free of their slumber after you arrived, raged and fought.
Well, that wasn't my fault.
No, I'm thanking you. That night, I decided I would not go back to Banur. I would take my hunt into these lands. Many machines, even demons, spidery, skittering, without the blue light in them. Dead things that must be killed again.
Our enemies dug up an army of them.
An army? Yes, that's why I came. Good. I'll wait. From their metal bones, I'll make my armor and my song.
She's in it for the thrill of the hunt. Reminds me of Grunt from Mass Effect. The second and third one, specifically. Talana. Oh, from the lodge.
Talana, why are you here?
I'm your hawk. Where else would I be?
Defending Meridian with Avad?
I leave that to the rest of the lodge. I will not stand aside while one of mine fights alone. Not again.
Are you sure you...
You're risking your life for all of us. You can't ask me to stand by and watch. Not when I have the power to change it.
Then I won't ask you.
It's settled. I will fight by your side. My only request...
Name it.
Leave the biggest machine for me.
No promises.
When you need me, I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, how much you want to bet the biggest one will have Hades in it? Starlit skies, Milky Way. Love the blue moon and its light fogs over the trees. Huh. Rays. The horizon. Spire.
It rises taller than the highest tree.
These cards are in their frilled armor look like turkeys.
But there are so many. And now we are so few.
They are not our foe. Not this time.
Quiet now. She comes.
The Anointed.
War Chief Sona. War Chief, you seem uncomfortable.
The Nora do not belong here. I do not belong here. I will fight the metal devil that threatens us all, but my place is in the sacred land. The wrongness here jags at me like an arrowhead.
I'm sorry to put you through this.
Do not be sorry. This will be ended. My spear, my word. The Carja do not impress me. To build so tall is to invite the fate of the ancients.
Depends on who's in charge, really. And who we got over here? Ah. Sona's son.
Greetings, Aloy. Don't. You don't need to bow. The Anointed doesn't like it.
She doesn't much like being called Anointed, either. It means a lot to have you here, Varl.
I gave my word.
So, Meridian, what do you think?
I've seen many new things since I first met you. I should thank you.
Varl, what's wrong?
You really want to know? All right. I'm in a foreign land, a tainted land, defending a faithless city that looks like nothing I've seen. From something I can't imagine. And you, after all that's happened, all you've done, I feel like I should drop to my knees and worship you, but I know you don't want that.
Boy, things are pretty tough for you, huh? Thanks for telling the other Nora not to bow. It's the last thing I need.
Don't be too hard on them. They only joined this fight because the Anointed bid it so.
Is that why you came?
No. I would have come just to see you one more time. And we must fight a metal devil, because the goddess says. Or because you say.
I think the goddess and I are in agreement. We're both glad you're here.
So am I. Your friend, the Vanguard, keeps looking over.
Speaking of which, that's probably him over there.
So who are these guys?
They call themselves the Eclipse.
What does that even mean?
It's when the moon gets in front of the sun, idiot.
Is that supposed to sound scary or something?
I don't know. It used to be Carja. Carja are always yammering about sun and shade.
Well, if they used to be Carja, how tough can they be?
Yeah, they're best guys just like birds. We'll rip their little feathers off.
And let's not get cocky, boys.
Yep, you gotta stay on target. Don't get cocky, stay on target. Little Star Wars reference. The good Star Wars, anyway.
Aloy. So here we are again, gearing up for a fight.
Only this time it sounds like the bad guys have a lot more firepower. What are we up against, really?
I'm not sure. But there's gonna be a lot of them, and they'll have machines. And if they get past us, it's not just Meridian that will fall. The rest of the world will go with it.
That's big.
It sounds like our kind of fight. Right, guys? Where do they put the Vanguard?
At the front of the line!
And why?
Steel before iron!
And what are we gonna do?
Hit them like a hammer till they can't hit back!
Damn right! You hear that? Nobody's getting past the Vanguard. We're here for Meridian.
And we're here for you.
Thank you, Erend. Ursa would be proud.
Well, only if we win.
Alrighty. And another journal. Such a close thing. It's been, what, 43 hours since Harris warned me, said collapse of the eastern line was imminent, swarms launching some kind of pincer maneuver versus the Wichita salient. 5 or 6 days more and I think Gaia could have launched without our help, I really do. We had to scramble. ZD became a madhouse. Absolute bedlam. Every team rushing to stabilize code and lock it down. Excuse me. As Gammas got evacuated, then Betas. Once Gaia was on her way, I gathered the Alphas together to give them the bad news. Felt like I was going to throw up, but they already knew, of course. They knew the work wasn't really finished. Close, but not quite there. Still tests to run, kinks of smooth work to do. So they accepted it. No Elysium for us. We'll spend the rest of our lives here, testing and polishing each subordinate function to perfection. Okay, so Elysium... Was Elysium like the first ruin that we saw way back in the beginning of the game? I want to say it was. Guess that's what you get when you recruit a bunch of obsessive perfectionists. Managed not to cry until I got back to my office. Excuse me. So here we are setting up Gaia Prime, and yeah, such a close thing. Makes me feel nauseated all over again when I contemplate how the fate of life could hinge on coincidence. If I'd never proposed the Lightkeeper Protocol, there never would have been living spaces constructed here. If I'd abandoned the protocol sooner, the necessary life support systems never would have been installed. If, at least we won't have to endure the creepiness of raising and training clones of ourselves. The genetic material was never processed out of the cradle site, so it's not even possible, for which I'm glad. Well, except for one. I really wouldn't want to spend time around a young Travis Tate, raised by Travis Tate. No, it'll be up to us to perfect Gaia, one generation only. Update, that was General Harris. The salient has collapsed. USRC expects to be overrun in 2 days, which gives us 72 hours at best to lock down and seal up. Buried alive for life's sake. I'll go tell the others. Well, by one I mean Sobek. Hence why Aloy exists. Alright, let's head back. Another journal. Such a close thing, it's been... Wait a minute. Don't know what that one was. Brought up one I read already. Oh, that's a nice house right there, mounted up there on the rock.
Prince Itaman is alive and well in Meridian. The Karja and Shadow have been proven baseless traitors.
My kind of place.
Poor feet.
Save. Sunrise already.
No. Has the enemy reached the main gate?
I believe I've earned a drink or two.
Not another seed. Owen's apartment feels empty. Should I sleep? Did I leave anything unfinished?
Done everything as much as I could think of, so sleep it is, really. Rest before battle. I've done as everything as I could find, so I think we're good.
How could you sleep, Elizabeth, with a weight like this pressing on you? How did you, Rost? After you lost your family? Silence? Are you there? Guess I shouldn't ask ghosts for advice.
Huh. All allies joined. I did get all of them. Nice. That makes me happy.
Ma'am, there are signs from the west. Sun King Avad awaits you at the Temple of the Sun.
The face of Extinction, eh?
Campfires, perhaps? Massing forces for the long march to the city gates?
That's not blood smoke.
Then what is it?
The end. Or how it begins, anyway.
They're coming. Meridian's gonna be looking a little different for the next few hours.
The Deathbringers you spoke of?
To the guns! To the guns! Now!
By the sun, do as she says!
Set loaded! All of you, be ready to fire!
Will the guns hold them back?
We're about to find out.
You're gonna need a lot bigger guns. Uh-oh. How the fuck did he get down there?
Helis!
No! Rally the Vanguard. Send reinforcements.
Aloy, no!
We need those guns!
He will cut you down!
Not this time!
I'm a little confused.
Should have fought me in a sunring then.
I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused how we got down here, but
Accept your
that's him.
Only endless night awaits you. Meridian must run red to be cleansed.
I want to get the gun, but I want him away from it.
Keep firing, this bridge will go.
Fire!
Bridge can't take much more of this. It's giving way!
What are you before the terror of the sun?
The one who will take you down!
I am chosen. You came from nothing.
Damn
it. You will die on nothing. A savage cannot understand destiny.
Wanna bet?
I am chosen. This was not meant to be.
None of this was meant to be, Helis. You made it happen. Followed your orders, butchered so many, and for what? To die on your knees. used like a pawn by a power you don't even understand.
You pity me?
Turn your face to the sun.
Shoes on the other foot.
Just a little wind, just bending the trees.
Okay. Well, Pelis is done for.
Forget about traveling light.
Eclipse leader down. We gotta go. We gotta go. What was that doing locked?
Fresh as it comes.
Meridian! Hold the line!
Where do you need me?
Pick up a cannon! On the platform!
Incoming. Gotta drop it and move.
From the west!
Fire and water cannons. I'm very reminded of Gears of War 2 right now.
South! They're coming from the south!
South. Oh.
Don't want to be here when that hits.
This is very, very.
Gotta get to another platform.
This feels very similar to the Battle of Jacinto in Gears of War 2. Just replace the Brumaks with the Deathbringers, and everything else with the Locusts with everything else.
Chance to catch a breath and prepare.
So I'm supposed to be right here.
Raise arms again! West!
West.
Here it comes. Better move.
Lintox. Oh no.
It's taking a shot at me. It's taking a shot at me. Here it comes. Better move.
Take cover!
Up there.
They're gonna be here when that hits.
Storm. What? Oh, crap. Frigging Stormbird. Bam. Blow it away.
Gotta get to another platform.
Woo! Uh-oh.
Incoming!
Duck and cover. Or get buried. Come on, this is no time for Vietnam flashbacks. Is that Hades?
Aloy! Aloy! Aloy!
I can hear you, jackass.
By all mother, you survived. I thought you were killed.
The others, are they...
No, wounded, but alive, mostly. The machines blasted through them, kept going. They marched on the spire, dragging that thing with them.
Take care of the others, Teb. I've gotta go.
Oy. Well, this is gonna take months to rebuild. Also... I doubt I'll be able to upgrade all of these by the end of the playthrough. So if not here, then Frozen Wilds. Or whatever. Oh shit.
Now you face their true son, Shadow Demons.
This is where I belong, Aloy. But the Spire calls for you.
What, I can't fight him?
I think I almost missed this. But where you must go now, I can't follow.
Wherever you say.
Take the fight to the Spire, Aloy. Meridian will hold, or my marks of honor mean nothing.
Uthid. Oh yeah, him. I helped him out. Meridian's going to need a couple of months to a year to replace to fix all this shit. Uh-oh.
Turns away from a challenge.
West now, center.
Deathbringer. To the spire. Oh, and the game took away my outfit. Again.
Hades is transmitting.
Yeah, and it's summoning the blood god with it too. That don't look good. You might want to run, kid. What the hell? So that's how they do it. Why does it... So that's the second cutscene in a row.
It must have gotten through the defenses. Nora. Aaron's vanguard. I have to get up there.
That's the second cutscene in the game where they took away my equipped outfit for no reason. I hate it when a game does that. Especially one that allows bonus costumes. Like, if you allow me to mod my character's appearance, you might as well show it off in all cutscenes. So far, it's just those two, so...
Gotta keep going.
Whoa.
Keep pushing. Wouldn't be easy.
It won't be easy on ultra hard difficulty, that's for sure. Run like the wind. Run like the north wind.
Aloy! It's Aloy!
Well, you can see that. We thought you'd fallen at the ridge.
No, the ridge fell on me. Look, there isn't a lot of time left. I have to face Hades.
Not alone.
It's my fight. I can't ask you to come with me.
We were about to go over the top anyway, right? Right.
Hawk and Thrush, let's go.
I should
Yay.
stock up. Last chance.
Right.
The metal devil.
Let's do it. Final boss fight.
Arrival of Entity has been anticipated. Entity will not halt transmission. contrary, calculations are precise. Presence of entity has been accounted for.
Just remind myself what is Deathbringer weak against. So many enemies, I can't remember all of them at once. Tear there.
It's a Deathbringer!
Some kind of laser cannon. Okay, that calls for the, for my, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is.
I'm gonna tie one down. I'll aim elsewhere, Aloy.
No.
all I've got left. I can do this.
That was an arduous battle. Yeah, try doing this on ultra hard realistic difficulty. I can't. That was fun though. Go disrupt the son of a bitch.
System threat imminent.
I'm more than a threat.
Override. Okay, Halo 4 much? Hades, Gaia.
Master Override armed. To activate state name and rank.
Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Yup.
Master Override activated. Purging Extinction Protocol.
Not Gaia. Sobek, my mistake. Goodbye, Hades. So, yeah. Purged Hades, I think. And avoided extinction. Data integrity restored.
Okay, Gaia. Sorry about that. Where was I?
You were telling a story.
Right. Yeah, so, like I was saying, it was a children's electronics kit, but I hacked the wiring to an auto battery and solar PV. So the grass caught fire. And, so did a tall pine that had stood there, I don't know, maybe 100 years.
Query. You were how old?
6. My mother was home, thank God, so she called the fire department, and after, she took me out to the lawn and showed me the dead baby birds, because there were nests in the pine tree.
Query. What did you feel?
I'm not sure. I remember yelling that I didn't care, and that's when my mother took my face in her hands and spoke.
Query. What did she say?
She said I had to care. She said, Elizabeth, being smart will count for nothing if you don't make the world better.
There she is.
You have to use your smarts to count for something. To serve life, not death.
You often tell stories of your mother, but you are childless.
I never had time. Guess it was for the best.
If you had had a child, Elizabeth, what would you have wished for him or her?
I guess I would have wanted her to be curious. And willful, unstoppable, even. But with enough compassion to heal the world. Just a little bit.
She went back home, like she said. A globe.
Anyway, that's all I've got for now, Gaia. Time to tuck in.
I wish you a pleasant sleep, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I'll catch you tomorrow.
And... uh-oh. Oh. A, cauldron. Oh, credits. Yellow. And thank you. Happy Hanukkah to you, too. Well, that's it. Well, mostly it. We still have the Frozen Wilds, but I'm saving that for its own playthrough. Because I figured it was too separate enough to, you know, that it would interrupt the goings-on. Alrighty then. Well, that's Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, the main game. Anyway. What's next? I don't know. I want to say Gravity Rush since I finally got the original game physically. So now I can play the second one at long last without putting it off as long as I have. So I might do the first one next, then do something else, and then do another game. You know, do something else with another game, and then eventually return to that one, get to the second one, and also return to do the Frozen Wilds for this. Now, what do I think about the game? Well, for the most part, it is very much an enjoyable and a playable and very enjoyable game once you get used to it. Let me put in the review portion in the title. And yeah. graphically, the game is, well, it's Guerrilla Studios. They know how to push the visuals of their games. They've been doing that since Killzone 2. And, you know, Killzone 2 and 3, I personally thought 2 was the best one. I did play the first one on the PS2, even if it hasn't aged very well. Killzone Shadowfall I never bought, I never played. One, because, you know, it came out a million years ago, and I bought the PS4 very late in its life cycle, and yeah, next gen already, right when this one was ending, if you could even call it and of course I don't even call this next gen, it was more like PlayStation 3.5, really, and with less the functionality. But yeah, Shadowfall I avoided because I thought it looked boring, to be honest. And this game, yeah, I was interested in it when it came out. I was like, sweet, caveman or medieval with aesthetics with robot dinosaurs, you know, Zoids, sign me up. But I didn't have the PS4 at the time, and I wanted to. And when the Frozen Wilds came, I was like, you know what? Wait for a Game of the Year edition, which is exactly what I did for $20. And graphics and visual-wise, it looks very, very good. I lost count of how many times I just marveled at the scenery and the god rays from the sun and the moon. Visually, it's a very ecstatic-looking game. If I did have a criticism with the visuals, I would say I do kind of wish it was a little more stylized, in terms of the human characters anyway, because I looked at, like, the art of the game, which came as, you know, as a download code with the complete edition, and I look at a lot of the concept art there for Aloy and the characters in general, and I'm like, I kind of wish the characters had a bit more of that stylized look to it, rather than just the normal, you know, realistic look. And I think, you know, in a lot of those concept arts, Aloy, in my opinion, looks way better there than she does in the actual game. That's just me, of course. But beyond that, the game looks stunning, and it runs well. Combat, you know, wise, it feels good. A little rough around the edges at first. But once you start getting more upgrades and more weapon, you know, arrow types, the game does become very much more fun. And I like the having to exploit the weaknesses of each individual machine, you know, setting traps, shooting weak points, stabbing them when they're down, and all that. It's fun, and and there's a very good amount of enemy variety. I wouldn't say there's really any boss fights though. But there are some that do reach that level, like the Thunderjaws, the Stormbirds, the Rock Breakers, so on and so forth. So the amount of enemy variety is definitely a good amount. Music's pretty good. Nothing too memorable, but very good. Has that nice future techno with a bit of old-timey symphonic Neolithic sound to it. Story's very good. I don't think it's mind-blowing or anything, but it's fairly fun. And I do like the character of Aloy. I was very, 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 you know, fearful this game would go woke SJW-ish, but thankfully it didn't do that. Aloy is actually a decently written character, and you actually like her. No Captain Marvel's over here, thank God. So yeah, she struggles, she has an arc. The whole find my place, what am I thing, honestly, Aloy is written far better than Rey is in Disney Star Wars. If you can believe it or not, at least I felt like it. And the voice acting is pretty good too. There is another criticism of the visuals, though, and that is the character face models. Most of them are pretty good, but a lot of times they kind of have this very guard creepy smile on their faces, which kind of creeps me out. And there was at least one character in the game, in one quest, yeah, I think it was the sword, the one with the missing sword, where you had to go interrogate this one merchant, and her face was like completely put up in a creepy permanent smile. Like, Mass Effect Andromeda got a lot of shit for its abysmal character models, but oh lord, do they look like Da Vinci paintings compared to some of the ones here, especially that one. And the lip syncing is like off at times, but nothing that ruins the game really. Just kind of puts you off a little bit, but doesn't hurt it. So yeah, very fun, decent enough story to follow along with a good enough character. Good graphics and gameplay that's just, you know, that is fairly fun to play with at least one time. There are times where the combat did annoy me though, like especially with the sawtooth sword, basically the big cat-looking ones, where sometimes their attacks are so erratic they move side to side. And you think you got out of the way, but you didn't. You get hit anyway. And there is one other thing that annoyed me about the combat. It was that you would shoot weak points that would cause an elemental explosion, and the machines would cease to be for at least a couple of seconds. They'd be stunned. What I don't like about it is that it ends up hitting you. You'd be trying to get out of there, and you'd still get hit by it anyway. Or you'd try to run away. And they come chasing after you anyway. So I really don't understand why they had to make the elemental explosions harm you. Especially when, by the game's own logic, like Dad, the stool makes too much noise. Please. Thank you. Like you would go and do the tall necks, you'd rope down them, and they'd shoot out an EMP or signal or whatever it was, and all the other enemies surrounding you would get stunned, would get electrocuted. Okay, if they all die from that and I'm fine, how come when in combat I'm not fine? I get blown up anyway. It makes no sense, really. I think they should have done away with that. Like, they're hard as balls as it is. Oh, what's this? Oh, more credits. The Frozen Wilds credits. And of course, there's times where I'd be trying to run away from an attack by enemies like the Behemoth. I'd run away, and even though they'd shoot a rock, and I'd be 5 to 10 feet away, I'd still get hit anyway, even though there's no shock wave to find. So it's like combat, once it gets great, once you're upgraded and you've done good, it feels great. It really does. But it does have moments where I feel like they could have polished it a bit more. Platforming's fairly simple. Nothing too bad, and the whole bow and arrow and slingshot weaponry, those all feel great. If I had to say, the melee combat was what needed more work. I mean, I don't mind that it's simple, but there are times where it kind of felt clunky, you know what I mean? So yeah, great visuals, a decent main character, and just, decently written story and weaponry and all of that, and fair amount of thought into how to tackle enemies. All that is great. However, I do have one very, very big problem with Horizon Zero Dawn. I know it's probably going to sound silly to some people, but it has to be said. the game borrows way too much from other games and stories, other sci-fi worlds. And I don't mean just gameplay. I mean just down to their setup and concept. Here, let me run down the list. For instance, the gameplay. You know, I called it like it was similar to Monster Hunter Once Upon a Time, which I'm okay with. But then you look at everything else, from the platforming to the stealth. The stealth is very, very much Assassin's Creed stealth. And the level up system, the upgrade system. The upgrade system is clearly very much borrowed from Far Cry 3 and 4. Now, I never played Far Cry 3 and 4. I did watch playthroughs of it, but I know what I saw. I also really, this is kind of a hit to the gameplay. I don't really like the upgrade system. I found it to be padded to a dysfunctional degree. Like, okay, if I can stealth attack human enemies from any, regardless of their body shape, why do I need to upgrade to being able to take down tougher ones? Like, did Ezio Auditore or Altair need to learn how to stab through a super armored guy in their games? Not really. So if you're gonna borrow from something, why pad it to such an extent where it doesn't really make much sense? Especially when by the game's own admission, the character Aloy's been at this for 19 years. Some of the stuff I get, but it did feel too padded out. Like, did I really need to upgrade the stealth to be able to take down an elite guy? Like, when taking them down, when doing so makes no difference visually or tactically from the normal ones? No, it really didn't. And there's a bunch of other ones where I'm like, this did not need to be an upgrade. Like shooting multiple arrows, that one I get. I understand that one. So yeah, Assassin's Creed, frickin' Far Cry, and also Halo and Mass Effect. Those two games' influences are permeated throughout the game to a level that it's not, like, if you've been around the block like I have, it's not even remote. It's like, it's not even subtle. The game practically flaunts it. Like, if you look up the Horus machines on Google, you get the full concept CG art of it. It looks just like the Reapers from Mass Effect. Look at Sovereign from the first Mass Effect game, or any of the Reapers from the other two games. Giant squid cuttlefish thing with lobster, with crustacean legs on their backs and tentacles. The general shape is exactly the same, and their premise is exactly the same. Giant mechanical Titan machines that go around eating organic life, or civilization, depending on which. And hell, it's also kind of like the Flood too. The machines, specifically the lost stuff, you know, the Corruptors, the Titans, well, we never fight a Titan, but they're still littered throughout the game as ruins. And the Deathbringers, they're basically the Reapers crossed with the Flood, because in the Halo games, the Flood were basically parasites that went around, that fed on all organic matter, or at least enough that it was able to sustain them and turn them into space zombies. And the Reapers pretty much came around every 50,000 years so they could purge all galactic civilization and make more of themselves. That's pretty much what the Corruptor machines are in a nutshell. They're Reapers mixed with the Flood, going around eating everything, so on and so forth. And the glitch and all that. And it's even visually, of course, not just the Reapers, but even Halo. A lot of the cauldrons kind of reminded me very starkly of the Forerunner ruins and structures throughout the Halo games. Big geometric metal structures and all that. And even the setup is practically the same as the Librarian in the backstory of the Halo games, because in the backstory of the Halo universe, the Forerunners, they made the Halo rings, big ring worlds, which shot out an energy pulse which purged all organic life to stop the flood in its tracks and starve them to death, which is pretty much what happened here. They ate up everything, and once they ran out of all biomass, they stopped working. That's pretty much the same thing here. And then once the crisis had ended, the Elizabeth and the Alpha team, they reseeded planet Earth with samples of what was there before. That's pretty much what the Librarian and the Forerunners did in the backstory of Halo. They activated the rings, the Flood starved to death. What little they had was locked up inside the rings, and they reseeded life throughout the Milky Way. Same exact backstory, minus the Halo, of course, but still. And of course, the old humans are practically treated like the Forerunners in a way, even down to the cauldrons and the other old structures. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the big deal? Lots of sources pass, lots of games and movies and books, they pass sources for information. That is true. But how much of it? But you have to still balance it with your own work. Like 1, 2, at a minimum 1 to 2, maybe 3 at most sources. That's fine. That's good. But once you go above that and you start taking from other games, other moves, other sources of fiction, at that point, it's like once you're like 4, 5, or 6 or more, and there's like, I listed like 4 different things already. There's probably Deus Ex, because I've seen a lot of yellow triangles throughout this game. At one point, it's not your own. At one point, if you go above 3 and start doing like 4 or 5 things to the point of plagiarism, at one point it's like, none of this work is your own. You're just mimicking and borrowing sources without making it your own work. That's pretty much what it feels like. And, from the Forerunner and Reaper, Mass Effect, Halo comparisons that I've made, of which are very blatantly obvious. Like, I'm not saying they should, but if Microsoft, Bungie, and BioWare wanted to, they could make a very, very make a very convincing plagiarism lawsuit case. I'm not saying they should, but I'm not saying they should or anything, but when you look at all the stuff littered throughout the game, it's almost like I've seen that before. Like, somebody else has done this. How is this yours? You know what I mean? So no, the game is not bad. I don't think it's a masterpiece or anything, since given my gameplay issues with it, but I do like the game. I don't think it's nearly as bad as some of my favorite YouTubers like Razorfist says it is, where he put it on his number 5 on his top 5 turds of 2017, and his gripe was that the game borrows from so many other games, collectibles, and all that, from and a bunch of other shit. Like, I do gotta say he's right there, and I've made my case with the comparisons. the game Horizon Zero Dawn borrows far too much from way too many other franchises, to the point that it's almost not its own. It doesn't have its own identity, other than the whole caveman ancient civilization versus giant Zoids robot. I would say Zoids, given that there's like metal animals all over the place. But at the same time, Zoids, those were pilotable mechs. They were not all fully, self-controlled robots, you know what I mean? So I kind of want to take that one off. But Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Halo, Mass Effect, it's like too many imitated sources in the formula. So that's my main issue, all-around issue with it. It just needed a little more of its own identity, so that, and not just blatantly copy-pasting other things. That's my feelings on it. Game's not bad, not at all. It's still very much fun and playable. Just a few things that I think they need to really needs to clean up. For Horizon Zero Dawn 2, in my opinion, they need to go back there, touch up the combat where it failed, where it's a bit, where it needs a fixing. Get rid of the being harmed from the explosions, touch up the combat with the enemy, predicting enemy attacks a bit more. Definitely, adjust the upgrade system where it's less of a chore. Perhaps stylize the game a little more in terms of the human characters, and maybe add a few much more unique boss type enemies to themselves, instead of just repeating the same ones over and over. But most definitely don't borrow from other games as much. Is the game worth buying? At $20 right now, if not less, for the complete edition, I would say yes. If you want a good open world game that isn't terribly long, is relatively fun to play once you get used to it, that has a lot of good places to explore, I'd say yes. It'll tickle your, if you're into Monster Hunter, if you're into Far Cry or games like those, this game will definitely scratch your itch there. The combat is decent. It starts off a little rough at first, but once you get more weapon ammo types and such, it does become very much enjoyable. And like in Darksiders, you can pick up certain weapons from other enemies if you dislodge them, which helps. And the stealth is basically Assassin's Creed. You're welcome. Albeit not as in-depth, not nearly. So yeah, second game, touch up the upgrade. Maybe add in some different enemy types. Like, I could definitely see them adding firearms into this game. I think they can get away with it. Bow and arrows and guns. Granted, other games have done that already, but there's like a million of those that do that. Turok comes to mind. Speaking of which, we need another Turok game. Like now. I need more dinosaur games. Capcom, give us a Dino Crisis remake and a proper sequel. And whoever owns the Turok license right now, make a no one already. Hell, we were supposed to get a second game, and that was a sequel to the 2008 game, but it was canceled in the middle of development, so that bummed me out when I found that out. Oh yeah, it even borrows from Mass Effect in terms of the dialogue wheel. The dialogue wheel is most definitely taken from Mass Effect. Right down even to the morality choices. So yeah, for the next game, they need to really give the game more of its own identity and not borrow so much from so many others. I'm pretty sure there's an ending cutscene, but I'm afraid to press skip and end up missing it. So yeah, I'm thinking just wait it out. Ugh, so many credits. Do we really need all these people's names? A new World War I movie coming out next month called 1917. Look forward to, kind of want to watch that. You don't see very many World War I movies. Oh, and I saw Rise of Skywalker, the third and final of Disney's abhorrent sequel trilogy. It was bad. Jar Jar Abrams started it with a copycat of the New Hope, but had some promise with follow-up films. Rian Johnson completely torpedoed everything with a nihilistic and embarrassment that was Last Jedi, completely ruining Luke Skywalker's character. And because he completely derailed what very, very little of a plan, if there ever was one under Kathleen Kennedy, there wasn't. It was third wave feminism first, story second. Then they roped JJ back in after they fired Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World, because his script didn't line up with what they ended up doing with Last Jedi, and he objected to it. Well, so they got him back to finish the trilogy, and of course, because Rian Johnson sucks, they ended up bringing back Emperor Palpatine completely without an explanation, completely undoing the sacrifice of Anakin Skywalker, and in tandem with blowing up the New Republic and the Force Awakens, pretty much undid everything that was great about the original trilogy and all that was accomplished. Yeah, Lucas giving Star Wars to Disney was a mistake. We should have let it stay with him. I recommend looking up Overlord DVD's review of Rise of Skywalker, where he also does a retrospective of the first two films beforehand. The DVD standing for Dictor Van Doomcock. Yes, that is what he calls himself. He's basically a parrot. He's kind of like parodying Doctor Doom in that regard. He even has a mask and even modulates his voice to sound darker than it actually is. Good YouTuber. Very entertaining, very informative. Ugh, I really hope they completely reboot this trilogy. And it doesn't help that you have to, like, go and read the comic books and novels to understand anything, which you didn't have to do with previous movies, not even the prequels. I mean, the prequels had their issues, sure. I paint that mostly due to George Lucas trying to do everything himself and not balancing himself with people that could make up for his deficiencies. Like, people hate the prequels. There's other people that love the prequels. Me, I'm in the middle. Like, I love the story and the concepts and what he tried to tell. Just the execution was not great. He didn't do what he should have done like he did the original trilogy, where he had editors and people to make up where he lacked. But at the very least, he told the story he wanted to tell. Even if I do think some retcons, like Jango Fett and Boba Fett not being Mandalorians, complete horseshit, that did not need changing. Unless they didn't change it and they turned and whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm in the middle with those films. With Disney's trilogy, it's like, you know, they threw away the expanded universe. And Kathleen Kennedy, of course, the idiot that she is, pretends, oh, we don't have any source material. You're probably thinking of some other thing George made. And I'm like, no, he gave you the outlines, bitch. You should have used them. Hell, I liked Rogue One, but it is very obvious that the two main characters in that movie, Jyn and Cassian, were race-swapped dime store versions of Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Knight games. And speaking of which, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is on PlayStation Network. I'm thinking of buying that one so I can stream that one, because Jedi Knight 2 is a great game. I hope they put Jedi Academy on there too, because that was an excellent follow-up. They should have made another one. And I admit, I was a Force Awakens apologist, where I was like, yeah, it copy-pastes and remakes A New Hope needlessly, but at the time I trusted the story process. But it just got worse and worse with each installment. Hell, I never watched Solo. Solo was stupid. I never bothered with it. Yep, there is another scene. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my god, it's still alive. How the fuck did Hades survive? Silas.
Hello, old friend. Remember me? We've still so much to discuss. So much you never revealed. Your masters, for example. The ones who sent the signal that woke you. Knowledge has its rewards, don't you think? Well, let's begin.
Uh-oh. There's a Reaper. Okay, question. How the fuck did Hades survive getting purged? Did he have like a backup of himself in there or something? And yeah, we know what happened. Teb, idiot Pharaoh, sabotaged Gaia, which caused you know, which made Apollo shut down and lose all that knowledge, and cause Hades to go AWOL and start this mess all over again. So are they insinuating that Silence is going to be the antagonist for the next game? Because that's what it feels like. Also, how the fuck did he attract Hades to the reliquary that he had? I'm a little confused about that. So, yeah, Hades is still around. Silence is clearly going to be the antagonist, or at the very least a deuter antagonist. We still need to find the other, what happened, they still need to figure out what happened to the other AI subroutines. Like, we know Hephaestus started making combat units. We never did get an answer to that. Well, I think they did, but I only know about it to an extent due to the Horizon Zero Dawn wiki. Congratulations on defeating Hades and protecting Gaia's dream of an Earth reborn. Well, you still have a long way to go, Gaia. State of the world. End of the war machine threat. The state of the world has been restored to just before the looming shadow prior to the final battle for Meridian. State of the world has been restored to just before the looming shadow. So what? It resets your game to like the next to last portion, kind of like what Mass Effect 3 does, I guess. Fuck Mass Effect 3. Keep all the loot and experience from your successful playthrough. Additionally, New Game Plus has been unlocked, granting the option to play the game again from the beginning with all the loot and skills you've accumulated. A New Game Plus will have your current inventory of skills has been created. To play the mode, simply choose the New Game Plus. You can also create new loadouts, blah, 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 blah. Thank you for playing, Horizon Team. Continue. Okay, then. Looming Shadow. Oh, yeah. It does what Mass Effect 3 does, where it takes you back to, like, before the final, mission. Or final series of missions, anyway. Alrighty, then. Well, I'm gonna go over here, so that way, when I decide to pick up the game again, we can do the Frozen Wilds. Alrighty. This is the Grave Horde area. Alright, so Frozen Wilds. Manual save. Wait a minute, wait. Before I do that. Only one skill point, not enough to level up, so I'll likely do these last three once, I've gotten enough points, and likely from doing Frozen Wilds. Alrighty then. So that will be the end of the main Horizon Zero Dawn playthrough. I, for the most part, very much enjoyed the game. Combat's fine, despite some hiccups, and the visuals look great. Story is decently told, and the main character of Aloy, despite having a very on-the-nose name, is an enjoyable enough character. Not really much of a top, not really what I would call in my top 10 or anything, but better than I expected, which is great. Really, the main flaws with the game mostly buckles down to the game taking ideas and concepts from other, purposing up in a very not so at all subtle fashion, which is the main weakness of it. And a few flubs in the gameplay here and there, but beyond that, I enjoyed it. I liked it. $20 for the complete edition, I'd say, is not a bad purchase. I don't think the game is masterful, but definitely nowhere near as bad as others probably say it is. For what it is enjoyable enough. And I do look forward to coming back and doing a second playthrough, specifically for the Frozen Wilds expansion. And I can kind of see why, because it's pretty big. Well, no more bigger than everything else was, but we'll see how it is, really. So, Frozen Wilds will happen eventually once I have the Horizon, once I have cleared a few other things. I really want to do Gravity Rush Remastered next. My friend recently finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so I kind of want to borrow that from him and play that game after that. So I kind of have an idea as to what I want to do in the meantime until before I come back to this game. So that'll do it for main playthrough of Horizon. Gripes aside, I enjoyed it. I'll come back with the expansion for its own thing. And for those who watched, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my playthrough. And, like, share, subscribe, and comment, and so on and so forth. And I'll see y'all on the next story. So, once again, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, so on and so forth, whatever you do. And a Happy New Year. And have a great one, y'all. See y'all later.